Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. It's me, Jordan Shannon. As always, I'm joined by Kieran Powell. How are you, Kai?
Not too bad, Jordan. Sporting some new summer fit. How
Yeah,
about you?
lovely. Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Just watching the last bit of the day's play with England and India at Lords, so that's good. The weather's glorious. Nothing to complain about, which is brilliant. I'm very much looking forward to the third test getting underway tomorrow. Any thoughts?
Well, we hope it gets underway.
Well,
Obviously, there've
yeah.
been there've been lots of reports about is it a day-night test? Are the lights ready? Obviously, nothing has sort of been confirmed that I've seen anyway. But
No.
I guess no news is good news in that sense. So hopefully, all goes to plan and there's some cricket to watch tomorrow.
Yeah, I suppose it's typical West Cricket West Indies, this situation that we've got a test match which is 24 hours away and there's still no clarification, albeit like I said, no news is good news, but it just doesn't seem to be that clear in terms of what's actually happening. I know that someone, the lights are up and there's various tests that's taking place, but either way, let's assume that it's a day nighter. Do you see it lasting long?
Well, first off, let me. I can't blame Cricket West Indies for this because obviously it's a Jamaica
Yeah,
um,
fair. Well,
governmental thing, association thing.
right,
I
okay.
think I think they probably should have played this match in a country that already had lights installed and you know what you're gonna get, as opposed to um,
Like the
starting with Jamaica that are just putting in their lights and obviously
yeah.
don't host much CPL, etc. at this point in time. So you don't know what you get. Having said that, I don't expect this match to go past Monday at the very latest, which would be what's that, 3 days? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually played a pink ball first class match in Jamaica.
Oh yeah.
And
By the park
yep,
as well, yeah.
yep. The first 2 days were rained out. Match finished before lunch on day four.
No way.
Within 4 sessions.
So who did they have in their attack then?
One Jerome Taylor.
Sod that.
Yep. Like the ball was doing so much that Rovman Powell got a 5 wicket haul. Um, it was and the pitch tends to, because obviously at night there's lots of dew and stuff, so then all that extra moisture into the pitch and
Yeah.
the atmospheric conditions change. So I mean, pink balls obviously, as
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
knows, comes alive during the night. So no, it will do a lot. It doesn't matter how flat the pitch is,
Yeah.
like it naturally just will do a lot. And I think for that aspect of it, they probably should prepare a flatter than normal
Yeah.
surface to sort of try and extend the length of the match. But yeah, I don't see it going past 3 days.
And in terms of Sabina Park, without I appreciate obviously mentioned there about the day night. How does it tend to play at Sabina Park in a normal in normal circumstances?
Sabina Park's generally a good place to play cricket, to be fair.
Right. Okay.
Especially when they leave like a slight covering of grass on it, because then that brings the bowlers into play. It's
Right. Okay.
from my knowledge, it's never been a place where, as I said, like 400s, 500s,
Yeah. Yeah.
those types of scores come into play. But it's always been a good cricketing surface. It's a good place to play cricket. Jamaica's actually my second favorite place in the whole Caribbean to play cricket.
Right.
Obviously
Okay.
being a Leeward Island, obviously your home territory is going to be
Yeah.
your favorite place to play. But I think Jamaica, and not just even cricket, the food, the culture,
Yeah.
it's just a very good place to be once you know where to go and what to do. So I think that
Yeah.
lots of other cricketers probably feel that way as well. And so I'm hoping that that level of additional comfort um, can sort of spark some sort of pink ball magic for the West Indies.
Yeah. Well, looking into the test, there'll definitely certainly be a few of the bowlers licking the lips, and one of which who will be making his 100th test appearance in Mitchell Starc. I'm sure he will be itching at the bit to get a five for him, if not more, on his 100th test appearance.
I mean, he is the pink ball king. You
Yeah.
look at the games that Australia play in Adelaide every year.
Yeah.
that have now been shifted to paintball matches for quite some time now. Which, interestingly enough, the governor of the state has said that they're reverting back to day matches now because the matches finish so quickly and
Well,
they don't
commercially,
sort
what
of,
make yeah.
yeah, they can't recoup sort of all their
No,
investment, so they're switching
no.
it back to day matches.
All right.
But Mitchell Starc, obviously 100 test matches, 5 wickets away from 400
Yeah.
test wickets. So it's a format that he has served a lot of time in, being able to get to 100 test matches as a fast bowler,
Yeah, simply.
and to get to close to 400 test wickets, going at well, at the end of the game, we don't know, but going at around 4 wickets per match is exceptional numbers.
Consistency.
Consistency across the board, in wicket taking and in availability. The best ability you can
Yeah.
have is availability, and,
Yeah.
for a fast bowler to get to, especially an Australian fast bowler,
Yeah, definitely.
commendable to him. So I think it's going to be probably even that much more difficult for the West Indian batters, knowing that there's a bowler that, with this type of match, the paintball match in
Yeah.
particular, his numbers increases exponentially, and so he's going to obviously be an even more dangerous threat to the West Indies batting lineup.
If the team that wins the toss, do you believe that whatever they decide to go, because I think when I was looking at the statistics, I do think that it's still quite split in terms of what they decide to do in terms of batting and bowling when I was looking into it. Do you think that there is something maybe from the playing at Sabina Park the way one team will look to do one rather than the other potentially?
From my experience of paintball matches, because I've actually played quite a few. I've probably played I've played a paintball test match here in England
I
at
played, yeah,
Edgbaston,
the
and
the,
I've
the James
played,
Anderson delivery. I don't want to bring it up.
yeah, yeah. Why are you spoiling my Friday? And I've played quite a few paintball first class matches in the Caribbean as well.
Right.
I've played one in St. Lucia. I've played one in St. Kitts as well. Um, but from my experience, I think that the team that bats first generally has the best of conditions,
Right.
because
Okay.
obviously you get most of that daylight period
Yeah.
where the ball doesn't do as much, and then once it starts getting into that twilight period, that's when the ball really starts to misbehave into the night period.
Yeah.
So you'd want to bat as much as possible and get as many as possible in that daytime period,
Yeah.
so that your bowlers can get to work in that night period where you can sort of maximize on your wicket taking
Yeah.
ability. And with both teams sort of, I guess, closely matched with the seam bowling aspect of things, I think
Yeah.
that is a department that could really potentially pull the West Indies on some sort of level
Yeah.
pegging with Australia, if they
Yeah.
can get the opportunity to bat at night and get their batters exposed to the West Indies fast bowling attack in that night period.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And then looking in terms of the 11, we'll take obviously the West Indies side. Obviously, they went with no spinner. Well, no frontline spinner. No disrespect to Roston. Obviously, they left Jamaica Lorcan out, brought Anderson Phillip in. Do you see that there's? Do you believe there's a way they could maybe give a test debut to Johan Lane?
Well, I think that would be oversaturation, because you're already playing five guys that are
I mean, in
seam up.
terms of could he replace Anderson Phillip, for instance, or
Again, I don't think that would be necessary, because I
no?
don't think Anderson Phillip bowled badly in that
No,
match.
no, I
So
don't think either in particular did.
yeah, I don't think that would be a necessary call at this point in time. I
No.
think going into a pink ball match, looking at the way that he swung the ball in that match in
Yeah.
Grenada, he should be someone that's licking his lips,
Yeah.
um, going into this match, because that's an opportunity to really get some wickets now, after not necessarily hard graft, but
Well,
I mean his early international career
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Like, the opportunity now to pick up a big bag of wickets. He'd definitely be disappointed if he missed out on selection for this match.
Yeah, and that leads on to, the conversation in terms of Kraigg. Do you see them going with him for this last one and then starting fresh further down the line, or do you think that the handshake's probably already taken place?
Well, interestingly enough, the coach did the post-match conference after the last test instead of the captain, and I don't understand why that keeps happening. But if you listen to what he said, he was basically insinuating that without, I mean, directly saying that they're looking at other options, which to me
Yeah,
means that, Kraigg's not going to play. Um, that's a strange one for me because I look at someone like a Daren Bravo, for example, that, people probably may not have been happy with at the point in time where he may have been going through a bad patch. But his average in Test cricket was 36. Um, and he got dropped after, what was it, like 50 something matches on the preface that he was failing. But then Kraigg played 100 Test matches at 32.
yeah,
So, these are little things that obviously you start chipping away at things like that. And Kruma Bonner got dropped averaging 38.
yeah,
Um, you start looking at little things like that and you think of ways that the batting order could have probably contributed a bit more
yeah,
runs.
yeah.
You'd much rather want guys that are averaging mid to high 30s that have shown the ability to score runs at international level in
Yeah, I
your
was going to
team
say that.
than to continually be chopping and changing,
Yeah,
always looking for the next young player because then they're not giving the young players the chance to develop properly
no,
at regional and A team levels. You're
yeah,
throwing them in
yeah,
underprepared and then going on to the next one and the next one and the next one where you could
yeah,
have given those two guys, for example, a longer run. And even if they were out of form, the averages were still, or to me, would still suggest that they deserve a bit of grace given the period that West Indies cricket is going through. And they've shown that they have the ability to make runs and score centuries.
yeah,
But having said that, back to the situation with Kraigg,
yeah.
I do think that Kraigg is going to be dropped. Um, I don't know what that means for his career. And I do think that for me as well, if you knew or if you know going into this match, especially coming off of his 100 test, that you're going to drop him for this match, I don't think he should have even been in Jamaica because it's someone that's played 100 test matches. So it's going to look really silly for him to be
Yeah,
wearing a bib, carrying water. Not
yeah,
saying that anyone is above that, but there's certain things that you achieve in cricket when you get to 100 test matches. It's not there are 10 people from the West Indies have done it. So,
yeah.
you should have at least probably sent him home and put out a release saying that for whatever reason, you could just mask it and say personal
Whatever. That's
reasons
that's
or
that's what you have a PR
we're
team for.
resting him. Exactly. The optics again.
Yeah,
Now, who replaces Kraigg? I think a lot of people are thinking probably a direct straight swap with a Mikhail Louis. But the way that I looked at it is not that straightforward because um, at the end of the day, you're dropping your most experienced batter to bring your second most inexperienced batter into the
yeah,
team. So, do you want to bring a Mikhail Louis back into a team who's struggled in the early stages of his career?
yeah,
Do you want to put him up against Australia in a pink ball match with conditions in favor of that Australian bowling attack with these pitches that we've seen thus far in the series, or do you want to wait until it's a more favorable opportunity? And that's where, for me, I think I would put Justin Graves up to open because batting at number 7 is not serving him or the team the best of his ability, in my opinion.
and he's opened a lot
Um,
as well.
he's opened a lot in regional 50 over cricket.
Yeah,
He bats at number 5 in red ball cricket, but obviously he spends a lot of time opening
in the
in 50 over cricket.
yeah,
So him and Louis are averaging the same thing anyway
yeah,
in terms of test numbers, and he's been playing in this series anyway.
yeah.
So I would sort of look to protect Louis and give him a better opportunity.
I
Not that
agree.
there is in international cricket, but you want to put your players in the best
Definitely.
situations for them to succeed. So I would put Justin up to open. What I would do is, and again, for me, the West Indies probably think that Shea Hope is their best batsman. Um, so I would take the gloves off Shea Hope. I would put him at number 3
Yeah,
as opposed to number 6. Obviously, Imlach comes in,
Yeah.
and then I would put Casey Carty at number five, Rostam down to six, Imlach at seven. Brandon King stays at
He's at
four.
four.
So it would be
Love it.
John Campbell, Justin Graves,
Shay.
Shea Hope. Who
Brandon
do we
King.
have at five?
Brandon
Brandon
King.
King at four,
Keith County at five. Oh,
Casey
sorry.
Carty at five,
Roston.
Roston at six, Imlach at seven. I think that gives Casey Carty a better
Nice.
chance of
Nice.
scoring runs as well, going down the order,
Yeah.
um, having a bit of a, well, we've been losing early wickets, but hopefully this reshuffle in the
I like
team
it.
can sort of find some sort of balance where guys are in a better suited position for themselves to score runs and for the team to get to an overall target. And that's how I would reposition the batting order.
Yeah, I think you absolutely nailed it with that there. And you're looking at, you mentioned there about international cricket and at the end of the day how it works, but you're also looking after them, you see. You mentioned there about Mikhail Lewis. It's been spoken about before. Realistically will be moving forward as an opener. So just don't give him, he doesn't need that exposure at the top of the order, which will be extremely difficult for someone who's played 100 test matches, never mind somebody, of his inexperience. So it's just looking after him, and it's doing that. I like the idea that he brings Tevin Imlach in. I think that's a good move. Takes the gloves, let Shea go and do his thing. He's the biggest contributions he'll have for West Indies is with the bat. So you go and bat. That's all I need you to do. And I like the balance there. You're looking after Katie Cartier, yeah, I think you've got a really nice balance within that side there. And ultimately, then it allows a few strengths to be had. And the point that you made about Kraigg there, it's true. I do think there should have been a bit of a statement made, in terms of how they've gone about it. He shouldn't. I agree. If he's not playing, he probably shouldn't. There's no need for him to be in Jamaica, because at that point, then when they do get when he does know, and I think we did briefly touch on it with him about play. We've spoke about before about coming to England. Is that he might then think, right, okay, well, I've got this gap now before the Super 50. I want to go again. My test career, and he said it. He's not. He doesn't see it as as it's not over. So you might think, right, I'm going to come to England. I'll finish the season. I'll either pick up a county gig for the last X amount of games in the county championship, or I'll come and play league cricket. To get some time at the crease because I want to go again. And that's where that communication for me should be there, and it should be a bit of a respect. He's deserved it. When you've represented West Indies 100 times, you've served them. You deserve to go in a right way.
100%. And I think that for someone like Kraigg as well, being sort of a handout player and a strong, someone mentally resilient, not a technical player, that's where sort of the drop off happens quickly.
Yeah,
So I guess people have been saying that he's been out of form for a while. This is not something new to Kraigg. Kraigg has had these patches over a period of years
yeah,
before this as well. So, Kraigg has been given probably a lot more grace than other players, as I've just explained,
yeah,
and which has allowed him to get to this 100 test match figure. Now, what sort of brought back a semblance of form between these two lean patches, because the first lean patch was probably a 2 to 3 year period as well,
right.
um, is when he was made captain, because obviously he was on the brink of being dropped at that point in time as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So then obviously when someone becomes captain, that extra drive, that extra motivation to want to
yeah,
do
yeah,
well, to lead the team, his numbers spiked a bit. And then this. So you also have to bear in mind now, what is his motivation going to be going forward? Like what is going to drive him going forward for the rest of his career? Is
yeah,
he someone that wants to play and turn maybe his numbers around or get to X amount of centuries, X amount of runs, whatever the case is? Or is it a situation where he's just mentally shot now and happy to ride off into the sunset?
well, based on what he said, that's obviously not the case. He wants to prove it, and that's his character as well. That so fair play to him, and ultimately, I hope everything works out in a way where he does go back and wherever he plays and scores runs because we've spoke about competition for places. We would love for somebody to go in there and dominate regional cricket or whether they go and play and then come back and force their way back into the side because that's where you see that performances and it'll have an impact on the team. The terms of obviously from Australian perspective, it looks like it could be straightforward that they obviously go with the same 11. But with the series wrapped up, and if they do have another eye on the Ashes, do they look at maybe giving someone a bit of more game time? Do they look at bringing Marnus back into the side? Do they look at? I don't think there is much changing they can do. I'm just, for conversation purposes, I'm just thinking, is there anything they would do with the side there to mix it up at all? Do they not go with? Do they leave a spinner out? Do they go with Boland?
I think if anything, they may go with Boland for maybe a Hazelwood or well, obviously not start because it's 100th Test match,
Yeah,
unless he wants to do it at home in front of his family. Um,
fair point.
but yeah, I think there's no set of changes going to happen from the Australian side
No.
because with the World Test Championship cycles as well, and with an aging Australian team, and with them being so competitive and geared towards winning, every match has value now. And
Yeah,
so Australia going to just try and be business as usual,
yeah,
put out their best team, play consistent cricket, competitive cricket over how many ever days, and try to get
yeah,
the job done.
yeah. Yeah, I can't see them, like I said, making any change. Like they might do, a bit of manage the workload of Hazelwood with him playing in the IPL and stuff, which he got slightly criticised for. But hey ho, he's bowled super. Or they're all bowled superbly across both sides. So I do think that the Test match will be dictated by the bowlers, which is the current theme really of the series. But um, I just sort of wanted to see what your thoughts on the actual result will be, really, given do you see anything other than Australia win given the first two test matches?
As I said, obviously Australia going to the match as favourites,
Yeah,
but briefly alluded to earlier that, in my opinion, what could bring the teams closer together is if the West Indies do bat first
yeah,
and are able to get sort of a 230, 240 and bowl at Australia in that evening session and try and get probably a quick 4 or 5 wickets and get
yeah,
through them, and sort of get some sort of advantage where they get to bat pretty much in the day on most
yeah,
occasions, and they're bowling at Australia in the nighttime.
yeah. And again, I think we both touched on it as well in terms of obviously both the first and second test. I think it was more last week we touched on it. They've got to get this partnership when it's Webster and Carey, and they've got to learn or develop a way of just going through that and keeping that momentum going because that's where they've lost both those test matches is the key partnership with Cameron Green and Steve Smith last week, and then I'm not taking anything away because Carey Smith and Webster and obviously Cameron Green, they've all batted superbly well at the time. They played the conditions and they played the game situation superbly. But I do think for West Indies to win this game tomorrow, they're going to have to be able to get them bowled out for a 120 or a 130 instead of it turning into a 220, 230, 240.
And that's where, especially in a pink ball match where you expect a lot of opportunities to come, your catchers are going to really have to catch
Yes.
in this match because you
Yeah.
can't afford to be
No.
giving guys second and third
No. No.
chances.
No.
You want to create 10 chances, you want to create 20 chances in the
Yeah.
game and have them all go in your favor as
Yeah.
opposed to 28, 30 opportunities.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, we'll be wrapping it up. Hopefully, it's not Sunday, for instance. We're not touching base Sunday late on Sunday night. But realistically, obviously, it'll be early next week. We can recap that game, and I know that, in the middle of next week, we're going to have a bit of a discussion in terms of obviously some bits we've touched on over the past couple of weeks in terms of the wickets and various bits and pieces like that. So, thank you everybody for joining us in the Power Play podcast, and keep liking, keep subscribing, keep firing those questions in. And we do appreciate people talking about it and the ideas. It's been really good to get that engagement side of things, and it's nice for you guys to obviously be able to ask Kieran questions in terms of stuff like that. And then going into next week, we've got a few nice plans in terms of discussing about some conditions and various bits of the wicket. So plenty more contact firing coming your way. So yeah, keep liking, subscribing. We do appreciate it. Anything more to add, Kai?
Subscribe, keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep subscribing.
No, appreciate it. Cheers, guys.